been ping-ponging between like Gold 1, Plat 5 for the last couple seasons.
Mm.
And, I've tried to improve. I feel like I've paid attention to, try to pay attention to what mistakes I'm making. I definitely know I'm doing things wrong.
Nice.
Um, but I'm not exactly sure what it is that I'm doing wrong. I've tried watching my own VODs. I think I maybe gained some insight from that, but I'm not really sure. I feel like it would be a lot easier to understand what I'm doing wrong and focus on that specifically to improve if I had someone who understood the game a little better to
Sure.
kind of look over my gameplay.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll take a look then. So, how long you been playing? You said you've enjoyed Overwatch 2 more than Overwatch 1, but what was your Overwatch 1 experience like?
I was really young. I was like 12 when Overwatch 1 came out, and I eventually like got my own PC and managed to pick it up around 2018. I can't remember exactly when I started playing. I remember Ash coming out as like the first kind of major update that I was there for. But
Yeah.
I played pretty casually. I wasn't really that good at video games at the time. I hadn't gone on my Fortnite training arc yet. Um, I enjoyed it pretty casually. I didn't really understand the game that well. But Overwatch 2 came out. Got a lot of traffic, a lot of hype. So I gave it a shot, and it was fun. I felt like I returned to it with a bit of a better understanding of just games in general, and I was able to have more success. Um, and I decided I want to learn the game.
Sure. Okay. What do you think about the game in terms of the adjustment made it more enjoyable for you? 5v5
Uh,
or other aspects or what?
5v5 definitely helped. One thing about Overwatch that I struggled with, I think, in 66 is that it was um it was a little much to try to understand what was going on at any given time. It feels like to actually be successful with the game, you have to have at least some understanding at
Yeah.
any given time of like what's happening around you.
Yeah.
And with 6 people per team, it was just a little much. There was a lot of visual clutter, all that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
It feels like it made it a little more approachable.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's one of the biggest changes with Overwatch 2 with the 5v5 specifically. Is it's easier to track what's going on and where people are at the same time.
Right,
Okay.
I like that.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So then you are a DPS player. What appealed to you about
Yes.
DPS specifically? Have you tried any of the other roles or heroes?
Yeah, I've tried the other roles. I gravitated towards DPS originally just because, um, I don't know, I guess just like the role appealed to me. I like kind of making big plays. I
Mm-hmm.
like, killing stuff. I feel like the other roles are maybe a little more nuanced and Overwatch specific in terms of like their macro and
Yep.
how, what they have to manage, how they're supposed to play. But DPS to me, killing stuff is just kind of fun
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense to me. It's a concept that's pretty transferable from other games. And I mean, I tried all the roles eventually, but I just found playing specifically like Tracer is just really really fun for me, and it's kind of one of the funnest things I can do in games, honestly.
Sure. Sure. I mean that then there you go. Like I think as long as you know what you're doing is what you enjoy, then that's the most important thing. Okay,
Right.
sounds good. Anything additional I expect to know? Okay, what do you hope to get out of the session? Insight on what to work on and specific weaknesses in your gameplay. What decisions I should be making that I'm not. How many hours of sleep do you get per night on average? 8 if I'm lucky. Oh dear. Then is that a
Yeah.
oh
Well. Um. Yeah. No. My sleep schedule is okay. Sometimes I eat in the morning. Sometimes I don't. I usually don't play until after I've eaten, though. It's usually like, I get up, sometimes miss breakfast, go to school, and then if I miss breakfast, I then eat before I work out, and then play video games. So like I usually make sure that like I'm getting mostly proper nutrition. It's not always super easy. I've got kind of a lot going on, but I am working on it. I am trying to get better habits. I realize that things like eating and sleeping are pretty important
oh
to
yeah.
performing well. But
Oh
I
yeah.
think overall it's not terrible, and I think I have gotten quite a bit better in the past couple months
Okay.
with all of that. So
Okay, good,
all
good,
right.
good, 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 good. Okay, yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the goal. Like, I think you're a better person, you're a better player. Everybody like can be a great player regardless of their habits. I think the problem is like finding consistency within that. Like a lot of players, great players, have issues
Right.
with consistency like that, and then also it's just not the most efficient or effective way to get there either. Like, if you got
Right.
up every morning, skipped breakfast, slept 4 hours a day, and grinded 8 hours of Overwatch, you'd probably get to Grandmaster. but you'd be miserable, and
Right.
you wouldn't be able to sustain it. You'd be inconsistent. You wouldn't like the game. You'd burn out. So it's like finding sustainable and like building habits out of it. Okay. Long term, short term goals. Short term, I'd like to get better, and over time, I hope it makes me climb. Okay. Let's talk about training time though. So looking at your goals, wanting to get better from where you are now, you're bouncing around from gold and plat. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your training time looking like right now?
You mean just like per day?
Yeah, on average per day, per week. I know
Uh,
obviously that's going to change, but like on average.
yeah, it varies. It depends on how many classes I have on any given day, but I would say I play maybe between an hour and a half and 3 hours of ranked a day.
Okay.
Usually like 4 to 7 games, maybe.
Mhm.
I usually start with aim training. I'll warm up in like aim lab or just like a custom game or whatever
Mhm.
to start. A lot of times to practice, I play against that tracer bot.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what it's called, but I imagine you know what it is.
Mhm.
It's pretty fun. That tracer bot actually taught me like trigger discipline. Like I figured out that like I need to stop just emptying my clips and
Yeah.
actually focusing on where my
Pushing that hard at the
crosshair is.
hitbox. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like I like doing that tracer bot helped me figure that out. Yeah, no, I would say I don't warm up or like do any sort of specialized training that much. I mostly just play ranked.
Okay.
At the
Good.
end of the day, like it's just I play Overwatch for fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
I agree. I
you know,
agree. Here's what I would do. Do you enjoy aim labs?
it's all right. It
Okay. Let me
gets a
stop
little
you right there.
boring, but yeah,
Dump it. Don't play it again.
good
You want my
call.
professional opinion? Unless you're doing it for fun or if it like gets your brain warm, dump it. It's not going to help you. All you
Hmm.
should be doing is doing your tracer bot 1v1s if you want. Better play unranked deathmatch or look for a tryhard FFA custom game lobby. Those
Hmm.
are your best options. I'm not a Vaxta fan. Have you heard of the Vaxta custom game?
Uh, yeah, I think I've had people recommend it to me at some
I'm
point.
not a
I'm not sure
fan
if
of
I've
it for
done it.
Tracer, and I'm not a fan of
Mhm.
it for Genji either because you have like infinite blinks basically. It's really just an aim training
Right,
code, and Tracer and Genji it's like so much more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like
right, yeah,
it's a movement in a 1v1. That's what you need to be practicing
yeah,
is your mechanics. And
yeah.
then your movement is your mechanics.
Right. I can't remember exactly what I put on the form. I had to like do it a second time because of the reschedule thing,
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
I'm pretty sure I rushed through it. But I can't remember if I told you my hero pool. I play almost like entirely Tracer. I'll play Genji to start on Gibraltar or Paraiso,
Hmm.
and I'll play Widow every now and then.
Okay.
If I absolutely have to, I'll play Cass or Reaper, but those characters are just not quite as
Sure.
engaging for me, so I
Yeah,
try to avoid it.
Tracer's the most one-trickable hero in the game. So
Yeah.
yeah, you should be good to go. Yeah. Okay, so to highly recommend skipping the aim labs entirely. You said you don't do a lot of warm up. That's fine. But you could use that Tracer 1v1 or an unranked deathmatch, or even better, the tryhard FFA. Like you're gonna get your butt kicked in tryhard
Right.
FFA, and that's what you want. Like you're gonna get so much 1v1 practice.
Yeah.
And lots of different heroes. Tracer 1v1s, Cassidy, Genji. That's what you want, right? Like that. When I was playing support and working on my mechanics, is I didn't have any first person shooter background. I just grinded tryhard FFA on Ana Zen, and I got smoked. Like I got smoked.
Right.
But eventually I got better and I got better and I got better. And I have a distinct memory of winning a game as Ana when I was like mid masters and it felt amazing. Um,
Nice.
but obviously winning that game is like whatever. But I felt like I was able to like duel good tracers. It was actually a threat. So
Right.
I would work at that. Um, and that could be as long or short as you want. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is probably the limit for a good warm up. But if you were to like
Yeah.
specifically aim train, I mean, I used to turn off the game audio or turn down the game audio, put on like a podcast and music, and I'd grind just for like an hour, 2 hours. I
Hmm.
wouldn't do that very often. But if you were just like wanted to have some fun, relax, work on your mechanics, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds good. Tracer Hero Pool. The training time sounds good too. 4 to 7 games per day is, especially if that's consistent, that's fine. You don't need to be grinding for hours upon hours, especially if your goal is like consistently plat or I would like to hit diamond. That's
Right.
good enough. That's good enough. Uh, Assuming that you're actually focused during those games, and that's more than good enough.
Yeah.
What do you feel is holding you back from improving? And then obviously if this has changed in the last few weeks, let me know. But you say understanding and decision making. I have a hard time knowing what the best thing to do is at any given time. Now we talked about that a little bit because when you spoke about one of the nice things about going to the 5v5 is it's easier to like track what's going on, right? In terms of like,
Right.
but you're saying also here specifically knowing what the best thing to do? Not just knowing
Right.
what's going on, but what do I actually do? Can you elaborate on
Yeah.
that a little bit?
I think the best way to think about that, like what I really meant by that is I'm not exactly sure how to maximize my uptime and be getting consistent value. Like for example, like if I see Ana burnt sleep and there she doesn't have her other supports occupied and maybe she doesn't have DPS to peel for her, I
Mm,
can die for her, right? And
yeah,
that's like a pretty easy kill. But if their backline is just like really kind of tight, like if there's like a Kiriko and a Mercy
yeah,
just sort of hanging
exactly.
out there, and maybe the DPS they're running are a difficult target for me, I feel like there's a lot of times in which I can't really do much more than just sort of hang around on the flanks and like poke people and tickle them
Sure,
and
sure,
not really
sure.
do a whole lot.
Let's talk about a really important concept for you. Let me start streaming up here. Okay, and it is called in pressure versus picks. Okay, so we'll say P versus P. Okay, so PP. Okay, I'm 5 years old. All right, listen, pressure versus picks. Basically, the idea is that if it's a pick, let's say it's a pick, it's a 1 versus 1 because you're playing
Right.
Tracer, right? So like, I don't care if it's freaking Moira. If you 1v1 any hero in the game, you should be able to beat that hero in the 1v1 most of the time.
Right.
Now, obviously, you're plat-ish right now, so a 1v1 versus a Moira is going to be pretty hairy, right? It's going to be a little bit tough. But as you
Yeah.
get better at this hero, eventually you're going to want to be comfortable 1v1ing most heroes in the game. And even if you're not the greatest right now, you're going to be able to 1v1 most heroes in the game. Like, that's just going to be how it's going to be. So you're the best 1v1 hero. So if it's a 1v1, you win the fight by sustaining and keeping up the 1v1, and you win the fight. Nice shot. Congratulations.
Right.
But this is where the pressure part gets really important, because you said about like, what do I do when they're all grouped up, or like maybe there's not an easily assassinable target. What's the mindset? Well, first off, we have to define what is pressure, right? What is pressure? What was your best definition of it?
I would say taking actions that force either repositioning or
Yeah,
cooldowns that
yeah.
deplete the resources.
Exactly, exactly. It's basically saying, hey, I'm going to kill you. I might kill you. Look at me. And it's not just a repositioning. It's not just cooldowns. So those are two of the most important things. It's also tension, right? When they're
Right.
looking at you, they're not looking at your team. And so what happens is
Right.
a lot of these times, if we give this, assign a random number to this, a lot of time pressure usually is like a 2v1 situation. But what I mean by that is like that Kiriko Mercy example that you were giving me here, where you're like, when there's a Mercy pocking the Kiriko and Kiriko pocking the Mercy, what am I supposed to do? What do I do? Shoot them.
Right.
Shoot them. Because at that point in time, it's not reasonable for you to get a kill, but it's a 1 versus 2, and all you need to do at that point in time is to bring another term that you're using, uptime, keep shooting them, shoot them for a long time, juke, hide, shoot, juke, hide, shoot, 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 because eventually you will allow your team to capitalize off of a 4 versus 3, right?
Right.
And you will force Suzu or TP or Guardian Angel, or you'll force an Anti-Nade, or you'll force the enemy Reaper to turn around and shoot at you, or you'll force a Defense Matrix, right? This might be a 2v1, or it might be a 3v1, or it might be a 4v1, and the idea is that as long as it's at a good time where your team can actually shoot the enemy team as well, then you're going to capitalize off of that. And Tracer is
Right.
phenomenal at both of these, because you're going to put out a lot of pressure because you can get kills, right? People go, oh yeah, she can 1v1 me, so I have to look at her. But then the other reason why she's so good at this is because there's other heroes that are good at getting kills, right? Reaper can one-shot you, right? But the difference between you and Reaper is you can stay, and you can stay, and you can stay, and you can juke, and you blink, and you recall, and you juke, and you grab a health pack, and you come right back again. And you're not only doing that from the front line, you're doing it on the back line. And the reason why that's important is not only does that allow you better 1v1s because of the squishies and the DPS that you're going to find in the back line, but more importantly, just from a logistical, from like a mechanical standpoint, because for them to deal with you, they have to turn around, right?
Right.
And moving your mouse and turning our cameras reduces their awareness of what's happening in the rest of the battlefield. And so you get the advantage just from that side of things. So whenever you find yourself in a 2v1, 3v1 scenario, or in a versus a composition that you don't feel like you can really assassinate anybody, Moira, Lucio, Reaper, Sombra, Winston, who am I one-shotting here? It doesn't matter. But those very same compositions don't have the burst damage to kill you. So if you get on an off angle and you're shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, you could do that for years. Whereas compositions that you can easily 1v1, like let's say there's a Zenyatta, right? Zenyatta either dies to you or you die to him. Right? And that's the kind of nuance here. Now, we'll look at some examples in game, but that's kind of like the 1v1 versus the 2v1 rule. If it's a 2v1, you live. If it's a 1v1, you kill. Kind of a very basic rule.
How much you invest your resources, how many blinks you're willing to invest, or
right.
whatever.
Right. Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll look at your VOD and we'll go, hey, are you on the right targets? Are you on the right timing? Are you enhancing your uptime? Are you missing opportunities to go for ones? Are you positioning and timing your pressure at a point to where your team can actually capitalize off the 3-1? Because the worst thing you could do is go and get 3 people to look at you, but your team's in spawn. Who cares?
Right.
They got nothing else better to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely do need to work on my timing. I guess one other thing that maybe you should know is, I think a flaw that I've noticed in my own gameplay, just by thinking about what I've done and doing VOD reviews and stuff, is that my cover usage isn't that great. I mean, I'll for example, I'll engage a Hanzo, I'll burn even like 2 blinks getting there, and then I'll just sort of like crouch spam strafe back and forth, like completely in the open, while trying to kill him, and then wondering why I get 2-shot.
Right.
Or why I get my recall forced. That's definitely something I need to work on.
And if you get your recall forced, why is that bad?
Because I now have to hang out and not really do anything until it's up again.
Right? So if it becomes one of those 2v1 scenarios, then you're not distracting 2 people for as long as you could be. Right?
Right.
Or if it's a 1v1 scenario, you get your recall forced, well, you're like, well, if I had played this better, I could have actually gone out there and finished the kill, instead of being like, crap, I don't have recall, I can't finish the kill.
Right.
That's the big thing. Okay. Do you have any other questions or anything you want to go over?
I guess just one other like kind of notable thing is that I feel like I really struggle against projectiles specifically. I mean, like Kiriko, Hanzo, Mei, even Zen to an extent.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the biggest things that kills me is just sort of getting randomly caught in the head by projectiles. Even like when I'm dueling people, like even like a duel against a Kiriko, it's like it's a support. It should be relatively easy, but I still get scared of Kiriko sometimes because she can force my recall, she can one-shot me.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
Yeah. Don't sweat it too much. We'll try to remind me if we don't take a look at your movement. We'll take a look at your movement. One of the things with projectiles is that you want longer strafes. If you're doing these rapid 80-80-80 strafes and Kiriko's just aiming down the middle, she's going to hit you eventually.
Right.
So that's something to look at. The other thing you have to kind of keep in mind is that Overwatch League tracers are scared of Kirikos.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
He's just a scary hero, and the same thing goes with Hanzo. Like they're scary heroes just by the nature of not even being projectile, just by the fact that if that one thing hits you in the head, you're either dead or close to it. Hanzo, you're dead.
Yeah.
Mei, you're dead. Zenyatta or Kiriko, you're basically dead with a single headshot, right? It's almost exactly the same amount of damage. So it's like they're just high damage projectiles, and that's kind of like the consistent theme. Even like a damage boosted fire rocket, a 1-shot, right? So yeah, okay. Any other questions?
I don't know. Well, you mentioned movement. I think one thing that I know I do wrong is that I definitely jump too much. I don't know what happened. It got it into my muscle memory where I should be constantly jumping, and sometimes I'm able to kind of consciously realize like, no, I should be crouching, I should be AD strafing, but I still do jump occasionally. I notice it does get me killed sometimes, but I know that. How do I fix that? A little tough, honestly. I think just sort of being conscious about how I'm moving and trying to, manually correct it. That's what I do currently.
Yeah. This is by the way, this is how you. So you want to know? Okay, you want to hear? Give me 1 second. Start Overwatch here and start, because I get this question all the time, and it's not just jumping, right? It's trigger discipline. Brought that one up, right? It's movement. It's crosshair placement. So if I'm just fine. Let me see if there is a tryhard FFA. That would be awesome. No, sadly. That's okay. We'll just go to Doctor Strange. So if you want to know how to fix your mechanical habits, like how do I fix jumping? How do I fix crosshair placement? How do I fix my movement? How do I fix my trigger discipline? Here's how you fix it, okay? First off, you pull up that arcade deathmatch, you pull up that tryhard FFA, you pull up that Baxter code, whatever you want, and this is where you practice it. Don't jump. don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump. Right? Or if we're doing trigger discipline for Tracer, it's like, you know, don't mash it. Don't mash it. Don't mash it. If we're doing crosshair placement, okay? Make sure when I turn the corner, my crosshair's at head height, right? The way to fix these habits is not to go into like a ranked game necessarily and try to fix them, because what's going on in a ranked game?
Chaos.
Right, exactly, chaos. There's a trillion things going on at once. So if you go into a ranked game when you could be thinking about positioning, when you should be thinking about your ultimate usage, when you should be thinking about everything else that's going on, then you're not going to have time to be thinking about all that stuff. You're going to be thinking about more important things and things that are more easy to practice. So what you do is whenever it's anything mechanical, your goal should be to go into a warm-up, and this is where you practice it.
Right.
This is even trigger discipline for a hero like Zenyatta, right? I'm going to hit my shot eventually, but I'm not mashing my buttons, right?
Right.
No jumping. No jumping. Okay, wait for the strafe. There it is. Okay, so it's like this is where you practice these things. If you find yourself doing this in your warm-up, right, then this is where you need to break it. And so that you do it enough in your warm-up for your 10 or 15 minutes and you only focus on that one mechanical aspect. Again, cross your placement, trigger discipline, jumping, whatever the case may be, and then you go into your rank game, and then now you can focus on your mechanics. Now you can focus on whatever you want at that point. And now you can focus on your cooldown usage. Now you can focus on your positioning. So you don't have to worry about that.
You muted your mic.
Oops. So then, yeah, my bad. So then you can focus on these things instead of having to do it in the middle of a rank game where there's a trillion other things to worry about. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at your code here, unless you have any other questions.
I think that's it.
Okay, let's take a look at this code. Is it the one from the 1G ADGO or?
Yeah, something like that. It should be a Nepal game.
Okay, let's pull this up here. Whoops.
Yeah. This game was interesting. I'm the Tracer on the blue team. The first round we did pretty well, but then our tank swapped and it got a little hairy. I think there was a lot of kind of variation and different things that happened. So.
Sure. Okay, let's take a look. Volume okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're assassinatable targets, lots of them. So either you're going to kill them, or they're going to hard peel you, in which case we're going to go into that 2v1, 3v1 rule, the pressure rule, right? Where your goal is to just survive, keep their attention, and then that will make it very easy for your team to, for example, take an off angle, punish the life weaver, take an off angle, peel off the ball, right? Things like that will be easier because of what you do. Like right now, this is a perfect positioning, and this is absolutely delectable. However, what's the question right now?
It's a little scary because I could get slept by the Ana.
Right. But why is this a good pressure time?
Has my team engaged yet? Maybe not.
Not
quite.
Really. So you don't have to necessarily, because there's a Widowmaker. You might want to distract the Widowmaker right now, but you need to be very careful. Why?
Because if I engage too early, I'm going to die, and it's not going to do anything, and
Right.
everyone's just going to look at me.
Here's the thing. Sometimes one of the things that I've been using terminology recently is like, who is tanking right now on your team?
Right.
You are, right? You're the tank right now. Now you are one of the best DPS tanks in the game. There are, like, Tracer has a lot of survivability and self-sustain, and you're not a bad tank, but you need to be very careful. Try to avoid it whenever you can. For example, right now, you might decide, I want to go for this Widowmaker, right? However, you need to be doing it very cautiously because you're by yourself. There's no Orisa taking space. There's nobody's focused on the Junkrat. Nobody's peeling off the ball. It's just you. So be careful. So I would go for the clip here, but how would you go for this kill?
I would try to find a one-shot on the Widow, maybe reposition to blink once, but
Sure.
beyond investing a single blink, I would probably try to return to the health pack
Yep,
of like the
agreed.
Mega.
That's a wise choice. So you're here. Recall has already been burned, but that's not optimal.
Yeah, I did not need to recall there. I could use blinks.
Definitely could have just blinked for Mega there. But at least we're still here. At least we're not dead.
Not sure why I hesitated here, but
Well, the funny thing is this hesitation has allowed your team to do what? What's happening on the battlefield?
take some more
Right,
space.
well, they're kind of combating here, right? Like the Junkrat's walking forward, they're kind of fighting the ball. The Ana might have to worry about laying the ball. So, what are the odds that you get the kill now, as opposed to the last engage?
Better.
Much better, right? So you're now not the tank. You're letting your team take some heat for you. So same rules apply. If 3 people turn around and start shooting you right now, your goal is still to survive, but that's less likely than it was before. Case in point, right?
Right. And I think we managed to get some more pressure
You get Blink
here.
melee. That's not an easy tech.
Yeah, I made sure to learn that just because I thought it was really fun.
It's good because it's a quick finisher, especially when you don't have the reloads and it's consistent damage.
Yeah.
It's also something that you can do to capitalize off of your movement. Like if you're blinking and repositioning anyway, it's like that free
Right.
damage, right?
One thing about that though that I've noticed is when I reach the end of a clip, or like most of the end of the clip, if like I have like less than 10 bullets left and I go for a blink melee, a lot of times I try to buffer my reload input like behind that as I do it, and it doesn't come out because I push it too early, and so then I'm left standing there after I do my blink melee with no bullets,
Right.
and
So
I have
either
to manually
melee
go
or you reload then melee. Right.
Right.
You can't start the reload animation then cancel it with the melee. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a habit you'll have to work at. And that's by the way, when would you practice that?
in training.
In training, right?
And-
That's another one of those mechanical aspects that you can practice in your warm-ups, right? By the way, be very careful right here. Like you are.
Yeah, this
You-
actually
like,
gets very yikesy.
I will say, especially versus an Ana of like equal skill, you probably die there. And in a Widowmaker of
Yeah.
equal skill, you die there. Like even in gold or plat, like your Ana's going to hit a shot there. Like that.
Right, like that's the thing is people do hit shots, and Ana, I noticed like a while back she became a lot scarier of a matchup because she 2-shots me.
2-shot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so be careful. But this is always like an Impala classic. Like I don't know what it is obsession with like lower ranks like stuff, but obviously it does make it hard. Your response here is correct though, where you're like, okay, if we're stuffing, I'm gonna try and take a flank, so this is good.
Yeah. I totally beef my pulse here.
Okay, this is a really important question, something that we've talked about before in previous Tracer reviews. Why do you blink pulse? What's the reason
Because
for blink pulsing?
it lets you close the space between you and your target pretty
Correct.
fast without being able to react.
Correct. So that it doesn't give them the time to react. You quickly go in for the pulse, 3, 2, 1, blink pulse, right? The animation cancel,
Right.
pulse, then the blink. Everybody knows that or should know that. And you're
Yeah.
able to quickly close the distance and finish off the kill without them even realizing it, right? That's awesome. Okay? But you're trolling by doing it here. Why? Why is this
Yeah.
unnecessary?
Because my team is not really fully engaged yet. If I make too much noise back here, everyone's going to look at me, and
Sure.
it's
Sure.
not really an optimal engage timing.
Sure. So it's not necessarily an optimal engage timing, maybe. But see, that's not even my point here. Think about it this way. The whole point of the blink pulse is to be safer when there's a risk of closing the distance, right?
Right.
What about this? Is there any reason for you to be scared to walk up behind this guy and tap him on the shoulder?
That's a good point. I feel like I'm honest, kind of like I try not to do that just because it kind of feels stupid, like just like walking in a straight line towards someone looking for a
But
pulse.
nobody's looking at you.
Right, that is the optimal thing to do.
Nobody's looking
Also, I
at
just
you.
think like one thing about my blink pulse is that I feel like to be better at this, I need to be confident. Like if I just confidently blinked forward right here and just kept my crosshair exactly where it is, I
Sure.
probably would have landed a pulse on the Ana, but I hesitated for just like a quarter of a second,
Yeah.
and I didn't properly cancel my pulse, and I did it like after I blink, and I think that's just something I need to work on. I just need to be
Yeah.
more confident in my blinks and in my pulse.
Sure. So it's like one of those things where you want to practice it, but you need to practice it when it actually makes sense. Right now, there's no reason for it. If you were an Overwatch League Tracer, you would walk forward and stick him in the butt cheeks.
Right. Yeah, that's
There's
that's
no
a good
reason
point.
not to. Like they're not even looking at you. There's zero expectation. Now, a lot of the times with your pulses, they are going to be looking at you, or at least going to be far away to where you need to close the distance quickly with Blink Pulse. But you don't need to now. Build the habit of reading the situation and deciding what type of pulse connect you want to go for. And right now, it's walking forward and sticking them in the back. But like you said, yeah, definitely the confidence thing is a big one as well. So Okay. I mean, you still get some damage off of it, so that's good. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, you do get the Junkrat. That's good. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's off of your distraction, you know. And I like this angle, right? Now, here's a question: is this pressure or picks?
This is pressure.
Pressure, right? You're not going to get a kill here.
Yeah.
So
I
how
think
do
at the
you-
time I was hoping for a kill on the Life Weaver, but either way, I think it's still good, right?
It is good, right? But then the reason that I'm asking that question is then how do you play right now?
Don't commit too many resources. Just
Are you inside your fall off range right now?
I believe so.
No,
Just barely.
you're
No,
outside.
just outside.
Just
yeah.
outside. So you're not doing optimal damage. But is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to be here. It's pressure, right? Because
Right.
you want to live here, use this cover, use this mini, bait their attention. Oh no, they're looking at me. I'm gonna hide. You know, wait. This is what you want. So this is good. Picks. Why?
Right. As this guy's isolated, he has less than half his health bar. I'm pretty sure he just burned roll.
Yep. And there you go.
Yeah.
So if it's a 1v1, it's a 1v1 where you have full resources and he doesn't. GG's.
Yeah.
I don't know why your team blew.
Yeah, I mean, people just don't know how to play this map and Milo. It's
That's okay.
I don't know what
That's
the deal
okay.
is
That's
here.
all right. That's all right. That's all right. Winning a fight is the most important thing. So, you know,
Yeah.
enemy team mental booms. That's the strat. This is good.
Yeah, I think I played all right in this first round, though. To be fair, there weren't a whole lot of things I like to screw up.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's a relatively easy round. I'm not sure why I ignore the Ana here. I think because I heard the
heard
Junkrat
the
tire,
Junkrat,
I wanted to. Yeah. And
Pressure,
my aim
pressure
completely
picks.
Pressure.
Mm-hmm. Especially without the recall, right? So this is way too
Right.
aggressive.
This is a bad
Way
play.
too aggressive. Unless he's low, you're way too aggressive. So I imagine you either will die
Yeah,
or
this gets me killed.
Because this is the thing. Like you think it's a strict 1v1, but first off, you should know it's not. And the second thing is you're not really at an advantage in this 1v1 because you're down a blink and down your recall, and he's full HP.
Right.
So Tracer wins every 1v1, but there's an asterisk. She needs all the resources, right? To win most 1v1s. If this guy was half HP, different story. If this guy didn't have stick, different story. If this guy was, I don't know, like if you had another blink, even just another blink here, maybe different story. But honestly, like, there's the Junker Queen ult, the Ana turns around, the Cassidy, it's a 2v1 and you didn't have recall, you lose. So that's why we talked about before the VOD review started, because you can see how it affects every decision that you do. Your angles have been good, your timing has been mostly good, but the way that you play different situations, like right now, get out, live. The way that you play every situation is different. And even like this here is a little bit of a feed because this fight's lost. What should you be doing right now instead?
Just probably waiting, honestly, or just softer pressure, not, risking my life.
Here's another question for you. Where do you want to be right now?
I mean, wait, where's the rest of my team? My wrist is in, but is anyone else, like, in front of me right now? I don't think so.
Where do you want to be right now?
An off angle, maybe?
Right, so why aren't you already on the off angle?
Good question.
Here's a question, going back to this fight. What should you be doing right now? Fight's lost.
Backing up.
Or pushing forward on an off angle.
Right.
Set up for next fight.
That's right, because I can afford to kind of be anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be some comps and some maps and some situations where you're like, I can't even set up without my team. That's fine. This ain't one of them. If you wanted to wrap around here, take a flank, get ready for next fight, you would be. Because look at what's happening 24 seconds later. Fight starting, and you're doing jack off.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
back here.
You ain't here, you're not here, you're not forcing point. Because you don't have an off angle. And you didn't have an off angle because you didn't take the time between fights to set up. You'd instead look for a little bit of a poke. You look for the fast clip, which obviously was not going to happen. So I appreciate you taking this angle here, but you're late.
Yeah.
Pressure picks.
Pressure.
There's two people on you. Pressure. You get them both to back up. You establish what I like to call a cut. which is like a backline pressure while your team is pushing forward. And GG's. That's it. Okay.
Yep.
What are you seeing so far? What are some things that you need to practice?
Being at the right place in the right time, you know, being able to exert pressure in the optimal area. That was like the biggest mistake I made last fight. And understanding whether I'm trying to kill someone or go for pressure. I think I really like that. That seems like an idea that I'm not very cognizant of when I actually play, but going forward, I think that'll help me understand what I'm supposed to be doing a lot.
It's simple. It's simple, right? And that's kind of what you want. When you're in the middle of a stressful team fight, you just need to be able to decide, do I go in hard, kill this 1v1, or do I just establish a distraction?
Right.
That allows a little bit more brain space elsewhere. Okay, there's the Mei swap, Mei Bastion.
Yeah, this round was
Lots of threats.
Yeah.
Good, wrap around.
But to be honest, for me, like when I see the Bastion pit come out, especially at this elo, this smells like blood in the water to me, because Bastion's kind of a desperation pick, and as a result, I might have played a little too aggressive here. I think in the next like 30 seconds or so, I might make a play that probably should have gotten me killed.
Okay, we'll take a look then.
Yeah.
Small detail. Who's tanking?
I am.
Oh, you're tanking. It's just a tiny detail, but you need to look at this and be like, okay, my team isn't even poking right now. Like, we're not even... We're literally... Now you could peek, right? But the other problem that you've probably noticed as well is that your positioning isn't very good either. So I appreciate you trying to wrap on the flank. You were definitely... It had the right mentality. It just doesn't work out. So this is going to be a more map-specific.
Right. I could have gone around the other way and would have had a lot more pressure.
Well, you roll out here, and I assume you roll out here because most teams roll out high, and then you kind of go like off angle here, right? Something like that? Yeah. Okay. So they didn't. So then what do? You tell me, because I could tell you the answer. I want to see if you can figure it out.
So assuming they don't come through height, which I was waiting for when I set up, maybe go across the bridge to high ground.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. Yes. And then from
Yeah,
here, you've got options here. You can drop here.
Yeah, I feel like I struggle to take advantage of that space on this map. It's weird. Like something about Overwatch maps. I've been playing this game on and off for years, and I still will stumble into random little areas and nooks and crannies of maps that I just didn't know about.
Yeah, it happens. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Small little thing for Tracer, by the way, here too. I generally like, one of the rollouts that you could do is you could start here and then blink out across from here and take through what we call kitchen. So this is like a kitchen, you know, right? And you can actually off angle from here. You see?
Right.
So if they roll out high ground, you're already here instead of having to blink out to the open across from here. This is a little bit of a faster setup. And then obviously if you go, oh, wait, they're not here, then you could just wrap the stairs and take it off.
Yeah, I guess I kind of think of that area as like sort of unsafe space because you're so exposed from main. But if they don't come through main, then good spot.
Okay, so not the best off angle, a little bit early as well, but this is all fine. Unfortunate, a little too much damage. Grab the mega. Okay.
Yeah, this was.
So where could you be? Where should you be right now? Make a move as crosshair.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, I made a move as crosshair. I distracted him. I could probably go back towards that side room, like to my in there.
You could also just blink in here. There's a lot of cover in here, and there's a mini health back. You could just harass from here, and if things get hot, you can always just blink out this direction, or just blink out where you came.
Yeah.
The problem here is that you're playing too much stand in here. Just like you need to make him move his crosshair.
Yeah. Also, I was jumping around a lot, and I think that let him hit some easy shots, which forced my recall.
Probably so. Because remember, blinking messes up your aim, and it messes up their aim. But what's the difference between your aim and their aim?
Is that I know when I'm blinking, so I can adjust much better than they can.
So you're adjusting as you're blinking. He's adjusting after you're blinking. So you always have the advantage, right?
Yeah.
You never want to just like stand there when you've got blinks. This is all fine. It's just at this point, everything that you're doing is too little, too late.
Yeah.
Okay. You can honestly set up in their spawn. Remember that one fight where it was lost? Don't disengage towards your team, disengage towards their spawn. Because that's where you want to be by the time the fight starts.
That's true. Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Because now you're...
yeah, I'm not sure what I was doing here.
Yeah, that's okay. Pretty good angle. By the way, one of the best things that you could do on this point to create off-angle pressure is touch point.
I do actually do that a little later here. I do create pressure by touching.
So you've got two options here. Either you were smart and you went to their spawn and you come from behind, you shoot them from behind, or you shoot them from behind here. Or you go touch point. This angle, not very good. You're not really forcing their crosshairs.
Yeah, and I burnt all my blinks.
Yeah. At least we're on point though.
Yeah.
And now you've created the 1v1, right? Yeah. Now you've created the pressure. The problem is it's the same thing as last time, where yeah, maybe your team loses this either way, but it's too little too late. Too little too late. You've been a non-factor, and then now you've got both supports on you. Nice job, but you're missing a blink, so you're not able to stay as long as you could. Your team, you've already missed. Remember, your team has already died by the time the fight starts.
I don't know what she was doing there.
You need to get out of here. Get out of here. You ain't gonna win this. But again, you notice where you run to. Not to their spawn to grab a health back. Right. You could spawn camp me on. You could.
That's true.
But even if you didn't, you still would want to be backline, and there you go. Nah.
Yeah. That's a bit scary.
Good off angle.
And from there,
it's not
they
the best
just sort
off
of
angle.
hold us here.
So you're playing like a front lane tracer a lot of the time, but it's not like it's on purpose. It just keeps happening because you're not setting up. Like, you are taking slight off angles, but I want back angles. I want deep stuff, whatever you can. And then when you're like, oh, I'm going to get in, you're like, zoop right through. There you go.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was not blink, a good use of my blink.
Wrap around here, right?
So, like, basically for these last two fights, if I'd been behind them instead of in front of them, I would have been getting a lot more value.
The last three fights, if you consider first fight too. Right? Using your high ground pathing idea.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There you go.
So just the Reaper. And my aim could use some work.
Yeah, I think your mechanics are your strongest point, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a kit for most players with Zelo, but yeah, I would say, I mean, I've got a decent amount of shooter experience.
Yeah, it shows. Your movement, your blink melees, your aim, like your pulse bombs, like that pulse almost hits, like it's reasonable. It's definitely, I would say, high plat mechanics.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But everything else, the establishing of your angles.
This is dumb. I don't know why I blinked in there.
I mean, you thought you had to touch. Like, I get it. Like, look,
oh, yeah,
we're choosing our battles here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of little things that are going wrong here, but you're not getting on deep angles, and you're not taking your time. When the fight's lost, you run back to your team, and you don't recognize the difference between I'm getting this kill 1v1 or I'm just distracting the enemy backline. That needs to change. That needs to change. If we worry about that, we'll get you to high plat. Maybe even get you to diamond.
I feel like I would genuinely be satisfied with diamond. I mean, when I was in silver, I said I'd be satisfied with plat, but I think I'd be pretty happy if I just made it to diamond.
Let's just see what happens. Just enjoy the process, right? Like, and then that's something you need to be kind of looking at, right? Am I enjoying playing the game? You said Tracer is a lot of fun to play. Great, keep going. We know what you're looking for. You're looking for backline. So you tell me, what do you think of your rollout?
Could have been better. I could have gone up from like the top there. There's a way to blink from like the high ground on that side to the high ground on the other side where their Ana ends up setting up.
That's pretty good, right? You can also go underneath here, right? This is also good. And really where you go is fine, just as long as you don't just sit here, that you're able to like put some pressure from here. So let's see.
Yeah.
You don't really need me to tell you where to roll out. You've had no problems figuring out, like, oh, that position's better, that position's better. Here you go. Now, you should know what you're playing for here. Pressure picks.
This is pressure.
This is pressure. They're all grouped up. Nobody's isolated. This isn't a 1v1. So then sit right here and dump load mag after mag after mag after mag, right? Now, I know she's going to shoot you. I'm ignoring her right now. So maybe that's where your picks rollout would have been better, right?
Right.
Or maybe even play where she can't shoot you, right? But yeah, let's see.
Yeah. I think one of my big problems is like even if I'm in this situation, I'm still thinking in terms of picks. I'm still mostly thinking in terms of like whether I get a kill, and I kind of invest my resources as such when I probably could have just done a little less here.
Yep.
Better off.
Yeah. Well, and even right now, you're getting a monstrous amount of pressure. What is your number one goal right now?
Distracting them.
Survive, right? You distract them, survive. You already have distracted them. Like what do you think is going to happen to this queen in the next 5 seconds?
She's going to get melted.
She's dead, right? The difference between you and Junker Queen is that you can survive, she can't. Right. That's the takeaway here. So if you're not, this is why like so much of like the Overwatch 2 educational stuff is like so bad, because it's all about like carry, carry, pop off and get picks and stuff like that, and like, but really
watch me out aim gold players.
Right. Like once you have this amount of distraction, if you try to get kills here, you're trolling, because what's going to happen is their queen's going to die, and you're going to die, and you might be like, oh, it was a 1-for-1 trade, right? But maybe the queen survives. Maybe the queen survives long enough, and you die so fast that they're able to turn around and save the queen, and then what have you done? So So like right here, why are you blink recalling?
Again, like I'm still thinking in terms of picks
recalling. When you should be running. And obviously we could see through walls, which is a little bit cheating. However,
I definitely was aware of this.
You see this? This is like. We got a migration of enemy team on you, so you
end up getting
the. You do, but you're fortunate.
Right.
And the thing is that even in gold, even in plat, there will be a certain percentage of times where they will be good enough to punish you, and you will literally lose a fight just because you dead, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So we want to get to the point where you win 100% of those fights, not 50 or 60. Okay. Remember, next fight, where do you want to be? We're screwing around. Where do you need to be?
Backline.
Backline, right? Maybe here, waiting. Maybe here, waiting. You could even wrap all the way around to here and wait, right? Let's go. Don't waste time. Grab a health pack, right? Like, look what's happened. The fight has started and it's going, and you're flanking a Junker Queen.
Yeah.
No. You're not on the Pharah, you're not on the Moira, you're not on the Bastion, you're not on high ground. Come on.
Suboptimal.
Yeah, definitely suboptimal. So like your pre-fight setup is gross.
Yeah.
Right? You do a terrible job investing your time pre-fight. Mechanics are great once the fight starts, but a lot of times it's not mattering because you just aren't doing enough here.
That was ugly.
Okay. I'll stop. Where do you need to be? Because like, oh, I died here. But what's the mistake here? You didn't even know it was a 2v1. You didn't even know it was a 2v1. And you tanked. But in a way, your team is pushing here. Where do you need to be right now? Where do you need to be? Here? No.
Behind.
Blink through them. Get to here. Then you can start. Then not only that, but you'll have the information that you need to know about this Pharah. You didn't know that she was here. Right?
Right.
You had no idea. Setup phase. It's something that you are not good at.
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty big weakness.
Yeah. It's like you know to take flanks. Again, here, fight's lost. Disengage or set up, or both. It's like you know to take flanks, but it's like your flanks aren't very good.
Yeah.
Not very deep. There's Ana, she knows you're there. Can you set up? Can you set up? Can you set up? Yes, you can set up. Do it. Do it. Blink behind him. What was this?
This was a pulse.
Just go this way. I know what you're gonna do, but just go this way instead, right? Nice. That's where the blink pulse, obviously, because you are. Nice.
Hear that ult? You smell blood.
Please go right. Please go right. You're gonna get hit by this, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I don't.
Nice. Now we're in a good position. Now we just chill. Okay.
God, I was so mad when this Moira didn't die.
Yeah, that's alright. Yeah, you end up on front line. Okay, that's gonna be it there. One more fight. You see where we're at again? Go, 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 wrap.
Yeah, like I'm doing basically
It's like,
nothing
here's the other
until
thing too,
this
it's like,
point.
why here when you could go here? You know? Just a slight, make
Yeah.
them turn around further. The reason why this is important, not only is it safer for you to make them move their crosshair, but if they chase you here versus if they chase you here, which one means they give up more space?
The second one,
Right,
they
so
have to fully turn around.
Right, which is more use to your team. And what ends up happening as well is your Orisa actually ends up going on the same angle, and so you're not even flanking anymore. Right?
Yeah.
A flank is contextual. If your team wraps all the way through their back line and you push through the front line, now you're flanking, right? This is a flank. Usually, you know, go back like, because usually your team's gonna walk down lane, but like you end up not going for deep enough lanes. Okay.
Right.
What's the plan here? What's the play?
I was going for this Ana. Can't remember if I actually kill her. It seems like she's somewhat isolated.
Yeah, it's what everything it could start as a pick that turns into pressure depending on whether she gets help or not. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And the other thing too is the very sad thing is sometimes it starts as a pick that turns into pressure just because you suck.
Yeah, no, I
Let's say
definitely.
she hits a shot or a nade and you're like, crap, man, I'm losing this 1v1. That's okay. Don't die for it, though. That's the other thing. You start to lose a 1v1, just peace out. Try again.
Yeah.
This is good. She gets shot, for example. I will say this, though. What's the mistake here? Micro mistake. A little bit of jumping, right?
Jumping.
And you've got to blink, right?
Yeah, shouldn't have recalled.
So you should
I could have
recall.
blinked to the Mega.
Let her let her hit the second shot and then recall as soon as it hits. That's a bit of a
Actually,
micro thing.
I think she might have hit that shot, or maybe I thought she did.
Yeah, but make sure she does so that you get the maximum. Because you'll obviously, I mean, you know how it works. So you can react in time.
Right.
If you see an opportunity for a kill, it's okay to do this. I'm okay with this. It's risky.
Yeah.
But if you're like, this guy needs to die, he's 1 HP. Okay, just be careful.
it's a
Like
decent
right now,
trade.
survive. Nice.
Yeah.
Good. That was good. Okay, let's set up. Set up.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Kind of waiting around.
Just being chilling. Set up. I beg. Either right, left, you know, top, high ground. It's like you set up with your team, and then you're like, oh, an angle, and you go take it like mid-fight, you know.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you got hit by it. She wasn't even aiming for you. Wait for it. He's like, oh my god. Oh my god. Ah, no, what damage or and the fight starting, and then you know you're not even here. Like, oh my.
Yeah, I had to go for the Mega.
Nice. I mean,
Pretty
Bastion
free.
is so free, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Fara's dead.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here, honestly. They kind of just crumpled.
Yeah, that was something. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna even say anything at this point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, logically, like, I know that I should be doing something here. I guess I just... Maybe my thought process was just that, like, if I go too far forward here, I might just get isolated and, like, eat, like,
right. Well, you gotta be
or
sneaky, right? Like, you might set up here, and they might rotate this way. You're like, ah, crap, I gotta run away, you know? Or they might set up here and be like, you know, they might go with, like, the Pharah, Moira, Ana rolls out in there, and they find you, right? But when so if you set up on a flank and you're sneaky about it, then you're good. You're good. And it's not like if they rotate and they find you and you blink away that's going to be a problem. Like you're going to end up in the middle of your team, but that's where you're starting anyway. So like it's not exactly a loss from what we're seeing right now. What's happening is you're kind of like playing like a watchdog. You're sitting on your tank's butt, and then like she just like lets the leash go, and then you go chase off a DPS, right? Which is like, in theory, playing to part of Tracer Strings, but it's like a very, very, very baby, crappy version of it, right?
Right, like you do Reaper.
Right. Imagine like don't put the dog on the leash. You gotta train Hound, who's sitting there waiting, hiding, waiting for the thief, and then just attack him from behind, right? That's 10 times more terrifying, and it's a lot less obvious as well. Not
Yeah,
only
like if
that,
I'd already been there, the Pharah would have died.
right, the Pharah would have died. And the other thing too is like look at your resources, right? You're down a blink. You should have 3 blinks here. You should be full HP. Everything should be going your way right now.
Yeah. Instead of burn another blink and waste
Right.
time.
Right.
Sure,
I
what I'm
really
doing
would not even be bothering here. I would be.
Yeah.
I would find the Moira, anything like a Nano Queen. Nano
Yeah,
tank
it's
just doesn't
unkillable.
die. Here
Well,
is
she just
probably-
gets anti.
Yeah, now it's fine. You know, now it's fine. But the irony is here is, despite that, it's still the Moira that dies first.
Right.
Okay, I think that should be it. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, lots of good things. Mechanics were good. Movement was pretty good as well. And by mechanics, I mean both your aim and your movement. Obviously, they need to get better. You're not like blowing
Sure.
people's minds, but for your rank, it's
yeah.
not something that you're like, oh, I need to be grinding more. I need to be grinding more. No, you're doing fine. What needs to happen, what needs to change, the skills that need to be improved, are what?
Finding the correct angle, setting up, before fights, and maximizing my damage just by being in the correct, or maximizing my value by being in the correct place, generally behind them more.
Okay, setting up the correct angle using downtime pre-fight, generally needed to be looking for deeper.
Yeah, I could have a bit better timing. I don't think that was really much of an issue. I
Yeah,
don't think I
timing
tanked
was
too
okay.
much, but
Keep it in mind. Don't tank for your team when possible. But yeah, it wasn't bad. It was fine. Okay, what else?
I spent an inordinate amount of time on the front line.
That goes back to the first point.
Right, and then I need to make that distinction in my head between going for a kill and going for pressure.
Between pressure and picks. Pressure
Right.
is 2v1, 3v1, a 1v1. You are losing. Losing goal is to survive and distract.
Right.
Distract.
It's like I feel like a lot of times I'll be in like a 2v1 or even like a 3v1 and I'll be expecting to get a pick, but I probably shouldn't unless they're antied or
No.
there's some
It's
other.
disrespectful to assume that. It will
Right.
happen sometimes, like if they get like anti-nated or they were already low, or if it's a, you know how it is, a Widowmaker scoped in, she's gonna die.
Right.
But it's disrespectful to do that because you're like, well, if I want to climb to a higher rank, I should be able to win 2v1s. Well, yes, but don't get in the habit of doing that because as you improve, as you rank up, you're going to be playing versus Diamond players, the Masters.
Right.
players,
I'm not gonna win 2v1s there.
Right. Do you think Overwatch League Tracers 2v1 people all the time? No, of course
No.
not. Right. So like when you're playing to your level, you will never ever be able to 2v1. So practice making educated, smart decisions. Confidence with your
Right.
1v1s because you deserve the confidence. You deserve the confidence. You are the best 1v1 here in the game. But even then, if it starts to go south, have the dignity and intelligence to go, you know what? I'm going to go grab a health pack and try again. I'm going to wait for my recall, right? Try again. Because that's just smart. Don't be brain dead. That's not confidence. That's idiocy.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Honestly, not really. I think you've pretty well addressed a lot of my mistakes. I think, like, if I just watched that VOD on my own, there would be a lot of those fights. I would just think to myself, oh, well, there wasn't really much I could do. But in reality, there was a lot I could do. Like, I think about, like, when I pulled all the attention away, when the Mei, the Bastion, and the Moira were looking at me in that third round, and the Queen got isolated, like, in that moment, I probably thought that I had failed because I didn't manage to actually confirm any kills on my own, but I had done my job there because I'd pulled attention. I need to realize that, like, my value in a lot of ways just comes from my presence and the fact that I can threaten and make people look at me.
Yep, 100%, 100%. And then practicing each of these skills in isolation, having the focus to be able to do that for your 4 to 7 games, right? Knowing that this is something that I'm going to be practicing today. Obviously, we talked about using your warm-up time effectively as well, practicing your different aspects of your play that you need to improve. Talked about a couple other details as well, but I think in terms of big picture stuff, these are the big ones that you'd work at one at a time. But yeah. All right, mate. Well, good luck.